What is up, YouTube? I am back with another movie review, and this one is going to be Superman vs. Batman: Dawn of Justice. This video is going to contain 5,000 spoilers, so I'm going to give you 5 seconds to leave. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now it's fair game. So, overall, I thought this movie was garbage beyond belief. Probably the worst movie I've ever seen in the last 2 or 3 years. But usually with my movie reviews, even if the movie's trash, I'll talk about some of the things I did like. So, even though it's a short list for this one, let's go to the positives. Number 1, I liked that Batman, my pet peeve with Batman in the Dark Knight movies was his freaking voice. I mean, Batman is a grown-ass man, and he talks like this. Where's Rachel? You know? I like that in this movie, Ben Affleck, his Batman suit had a voice changer, and that was Batman's voice. So, that's a positive for me. Another thing that I liked was, I guess the action was pretty good in the second half of the movie. Starting with the big Superman versus Batman fight. But, I mean, other than, it wasn't fantastic or anything, but I guess it was, pretty good. So, there it is with my positives. Down to the negatives, which there are a lot of negatives. Pretty much every facet of this movie was a negative. Let's start with the casting. No, let's start with the screenwriting that relates to the casting. The screenwriting was so bad. Let's take Lex Luthor, for example, which was a terrible cast. Jesse Eisenberg, funny guy, pretty good actor, but this guy should be nowhere near being Lex Luthor. And what they tried to do with Lex Luthor was they tried to make him sort of cryptic yet articulate, and it just doesn't work. That Jesse Eisenberg is just not the guy to do that. It's just weird. It's not Lex Luthor. And it was an epic fail. I couldn't take the dude seriously. It was so corny beyond belief. So on and so forth. Again, I personally hate Superman because he's super generic. But that's just me. And overall, just the screenwriting was just so bad that I couldn't really be interested in any of the scenes, because this movie had a lot of, I guess, plot development and a lot of talking. Literally, the first hour and a half is strictly just talking. It's a really slow movie, and the screenwriting wasn't good, so they couldn't make that aspect at least entertaining. So, with this movie, the pacing was so bad because I was so done and so bored with the movie before it started to pick up. And, I mean, that's bad. I was already out of the movie. I wanted to be out of the theater, but I was with 3 other friends, so I couldn't. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It was just a mess. It had no good flow to it. You're just at point A to point D to point F to point K to point yada yada yada. And, I mean, it's just really bad. The story is bad. I mean, we only get 5 minutes of Wonder Woman. And, I mean, the best word to describe this movie was just boring. It was just pure boring. I mean, for example, in the beginning of the movie, we don't get a cool, introduction to Batman. It just starts with just Ben Affleck, so there's no big moment, big reveal of Batman. Okay, the first Superman and Batman face off, Batman just bumps into Superman with his car, and then Batman just says, "Do you bleed?" And then Superman just leaves. I mean, that was so anticlimactic and boring. The first face-off between these two characters that so many people were looking forward to, and they couldn't even deliver on that. So, I mean, it just seemed like they didn't do anything right in this movie, in my opinion. And another thing which really triggered me, this will be my last point because this is a short review, because I don't really care for this movie enough to review it that long. Last point, the music was so bad. Like, the background music never fit what was happening, and they always stuck with the same annoying drum, like, just for everything. Like, like, let's just say if it's a sad scene, they'll still have those stupid fucking drums. The background music was so bad, it dehanced the scenes. If the background music was going to be that bad, you might as well not had any background music. Because, for example, in The Dark Knight Rises, when Batman faces Bane for the first time in the darkness, I mean, there's no background music for like 3 or 4 minutes, and that scene's considered to be very, very good. Probably the best scene in that movie. So what I'm saying is, sometimes having no background music is better than having a bad background music. So it's just like every regard, you know. Wonder Woman wasn't interesting at all. Like, the casting was just bad. The screenwriting was bad. The movie was boring for the first like hour and a half. I mean, what can you say? This movie was bad. I think Ben Affleck was better than this. I mean, he probably did it for the money, but I don't know. This movie was just a train wreck. It was horrible. They're gonna make their money, but my review out of 10, I'd give this movie a 1.5 out of 10, only because of, you know, the action in the last like 30 minutes of the movie. But other than that, this movie was horrible. I don't recommend you seeing it. And to be honest, I don't know. I think this movie, if you liked it, you're probably a Marvel fanboy. But I mean, I'm just a casual, you know, superhero movies. I typically like only about 30% of the superhero movies I see. You know, over the last about 2 years, the only superhero movies I've liked were Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy. And Avengers was pretty good, the first one. The second one was bad. So maybe it's just my taste. I don't like superhero movies. I don't really care for superhero movies. Or maybe it's just a terrible movie. I don't know, but that's my take. This movie sucks, and I don't recommend it unless you're a big Marvel fan. So peace. Or this is a DC movie, so doesn't matter. They're the same thing to me. I'm a filthy casual. So peace. Later.